Hey gang, welcome back to Ski Play Live TV. It is day 2 of the International Climbers Festival in Lander, Wyoming. We're off to Wild Iris to learn about red pointing and also red pointing at a more advanced age. This clinic was AARP, Advanced Age Red Pointing. And red pointing, in case you don't know what it is, it's climbing a route but working it. So you don't go from bottom to top without stopping. You have to kind of work the route. And let's hear from the experts on exactly how you define everything.
Up to a crag and you have never been there before, and there's no one there, you don't see anyone climbing, and you get on a route and you do climb it successfully from bottom to top without hanging on the rope at all or falling. That's an on-site. If you get to that same crag and there's someone climbing a route and you watch them and think, wow, that looks really cool, those holds look good, and that move there looks like really fun, and then you get on it and climb it from bottom to top successfully without falling or hanging on the rope, that is a flash, where you have information other than what you yourself can see looking at the route from the ground without anyone climbing it in front of you.
Okay.
No information about what to do where the holds are, any of that.
Okay.
A red point would be if you've tried either one of those first two methods and not been successful at them, and then any subsequent time you get on the route, whether it's the second time or the 500th time, and then you are successful from bottom to top, that is a red point.
Okay, and what about a pink point?
A pink point is, it's really a trad climbing term where the protection has been placed already and you are clipping the gear that's already there.
And then projecting means trying to get that red point.
Generally talking about a slightly longer term red point, whether it's a matter of days, or weeks or months. If you don't do something successfully from bottom to top the first time you're on it, basically it's a project at that point. Honestly, most of us aren't getting stronger, but we're becoming better climbers. So a lot of it is about taking all the years, the bag of tricks that you've filled up and the repertoire that you've built, and just learning how to apply it efficiently. Younger climbers have a lot more power, just generally speaking. Older climbers find that endurance comes way more easily than power. So a big component of it is taking the time on the easier parts of the route to make sure that you're really doing them the easiest possible way for you, so that when you do get to that, there's going to be a little bit where you're going to have to dig into those power reserves, and you don't want to have used them up on the easier parts of a route. And where I think younger people having more fast twitch muscle in general don't burn through it as quickly, so there's a little more margin for not being quite as efficient.
When you're younger, you can kind of attack the route more aggressively.
Yeah, and more goes in a day.
Yeah, not necessarily finding the best way to go, but the way that works for you right off the bat, and kind of muddle through that way. When you're older, you don't have as many goes, you don't have as much time, even though in theory you have more time, but at the same token your time during the day is pretty valuable. So you got to make everything count. You're
resting longer between goes than someone younger generally does. You actually see a lot of smart young climbers now resting a long time between goes. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday off. We rest more than we climb. And we also throw in that wonderful extra rest day from time to time. So depending on which day of the week it is, it means we're either getting a 3-day rest or a 4-day rest. If we take one day off, if it's flanking the weekend, it's a 4-day break, which some people are just like, oh, how can you do that? But it's necessary. There's no way. We've tried to climb 2 days in a row, and day 2 is laughable most of the time. we don't really go all out in a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm learning I can't.
Yeah, we
It's
have
not good.
learned, well, we were told at first and then learned from trying it that the phrase, like, leave a little in the tank. Don't climb to failure on climbing day. Obviously, you completely deplete your energy stores. So that maybe day or two of recovery that you had planned isn't going to be enough after all.
Draining.
Yeah. But also, what tends to happen is that thing you get on at the end of the day goes really well, right? No. So your body learns the last thing that you teach it when you're working on a series of movements or any kind of athletic thing, training thing, whatever. The last thing that you do in that sequence of movements is what your body learns. So if you're climbing to failure, you're teaching your body to fail, and at the same time you're enforcing negative behaviors. I mean, we'll do opposition stuff on rest days,
Okay.
or at the end of the day maybe like some push-ups and and core. You can always do core.
Right.
Core is something that recovers a lot faster than the rest of you. But yeah, if we're at the point in the red point process where we feel like we are on red point, it's kind of like a tapering phase. You back off on that stuff.
Okay.
You don't give the route 3 or 4 burns a day. You give it 2 strong goes.
If we're first encountering a new area where we have a project in mind, we'll kind of acclimate to the area, maybe doing some more moderate routes, and
Learning how to climb
usually the day we climb, so the end of Monday, when we quit just a little bit early, leaving a little in the tank, we'll go back to camp, and we have a tripod that we set up, and it has a hangboard, a pull-up bar, it has gymnastic rings, and we'll do maybe 30 minutes of additional exercise.
Big muscles.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And, stay off the fingers that we probably tweak throughout the day.
Yeah.
And we'll just hit that, hit some core. We'll hit some. We'll do pull-ups, and I like to do what I call a 4x4 session, where I'll do like 4 straight pull-ups, 4 straight curl-ups, and then 4 push-ups on the rings, and then I'll do a crunchy set, and with leg lifts, and and then I'll go for a quick walk, and then come back and do it again. So 4 times. Yeah, and if I feel really strong on the pull-ups, I'll do, I'll increase that till by the end of that 4th set, I'm like barely able to do the pull-ups.
As you get older, it's much harder to maintain muscle mass. So that big muscle stuff that we throw in supplementally, that's really the goal with that.
One part of the thing with like mindset that's different for us is that we're so used to like, okay, everything has to be on-site and whatever, so that keeps our grade level like way lower, right? And so and it's just difficult, especially when we go to a new place, to kind of get out of that. Like, oh, it's fun, there's a million routes we haven't done, we can run around and do a whole bunch of like routes that aren't, they're nowhere near project level. Like most of them we can do first try or whatever. And that's hard to get out of that. I'm just curious how you guys spend most of your time
You should
on hard
continue to
stuff.
do that,
I mean,
but
it's fun, but it's different.
Yeah, save it for a specific trip, and save it for a time when you just finished a project. Like it's a kind of your reward for having, put in the time, 3 months, 6 months, whatever, just grinding it down and either getting close or doing a hard red point, beyond, at your limit or beyond your limit even, and break it down, get it done, and then go on an on-site trip. Go to a fun place and just reward yourself by having, because you can't do it all the time.
Right.
You can't pound it out all the time.